Edgewood Caverns. While drilling a well for water, a large underground void was encountered. The landowner, Wes Cavney, decided to drill a 22-inch shaft, 128 feet deep, and lined it with a 19-inch iron casing to access the cave. With the shaft completed on December 19, 1974, the Edgewood Research Group began exploration of the caverns found below. After discovering and mapping roughly 3 miles of passage, circumstances necessitated a closure of the project, leaving an unknown amount of cave yet to be revealed. October 29, 2011. Garrett Jorgensen, James Tabinski, and Jim Cox braved the tight well casing and rappelled into Edgewood Caverns. Their quest to find the route through the underground maze and make the journey to Fossil Flats. After landing in the small entrance chamber, they pushed on through the first passages of the cave and encountered cave rafts just before the second passage intersection.
Okay, this is Edgewood Cave. We're just a little past the entrance drop. That's Garrett. He's kind of getting geared up. We're getting ready to go and do a little cave in here. There's a well casing pipe. I don't know if this is where they're actually getting water out of. And that's James down there. He's sitting in part of the passage. And I guess it's time to go caving here. We just did it's a 128-foot drop.
Rafts form on the surface of pools filled with water saturated with calcium carbonate, dissolved by a weak acid called carbonic acid, formed by carbon dioxide within the water. When carbon dioxide outgasses, the calcium carbonate precipitates out of solution and forms a crust on the surface of the water, which floats there until the sheet gets too heavy or something disturbs it and the rafts sink. After passing through the Horn and the Pancake Room, the team paused at Democles Junction to contemplate their surroundings.
Well, I mean, then again, there's an alluvial cap. Not much air is gonna get through.
It definitely plugs, but even with silt, you still have some air room.
After some discussion, a side trip to Potato Chip Falls was decided on.
Nice crystal.
Downward into the passage, numerous fine examples of cave rafts were revealed, balanced on the walls where they had delicately landed in the past when the passage was aqua-filled. Appearing to defy gravity, they made traveling down this wonderful passageway a magical experience. On the floor Rafts so abundant, they fashion mounds which made negotiating the path precarious. Besides the rafts, the walls of the canyon were encrusted with some of the finest displays of calcite spar crystals in the cave. Resembling tiny teeth up to a half-inch in length, spar crystals form in pools of water, supersaturated with calcium carbonate from the outgassing of carbon dioxide dissolved in the water. As rain falls, it picks up atmospheric carbon dioxide. Additional carbon dioxide is obtained from the respiration of bacteria in the soil as the water soaks into the ground. When carbon dioxide dissolves in water, it makes that water slightly acidic, and when it encounters the limestone bedrock, the acidic water dissolves a minute amount of calcium carbonate from the bedrock, only to be redeposited when encountering the air-filled chambers of a cave. At the terminus of the passage, the route is reversed and the journey continues on. The team leaves Democles Junction, traverses along a deep crevice, and crawls down a long, tight tube with a serious downclimb at the end. Just before the duck under belly crawl, known as the rock sandwich, a large cave cone composed of rafts adorns the passageway. As the water table slowly recedes and rafts form on its surface, a single water drip from the ceiling sinks rafts as they slowly float by, which gradually creates a volcanic cone-like formation. The rafts tumble through the water and land on the cone in random arrangement, leaving an unusual and interesting creation. At the conclusion of the tortuous rock sandwich, the cave opens up at fossil flats to walking-sized passage. Standing up at last, the small band of explorers survey the vista that surrounds them. A stunning room. The floor, a jigsaw puzzle of cave rafts, piled up in profusion, some as white as snowflakes. The delicate paper-thin rafts seem to represent the final stage of raft formation, covering up the earlier caramel-tinted carbonate flakes. So thin and fragile, some of the translucent rafts couldn't even support their own weight, and came apart when they landed, as the groundwater level gradually diminished and the chamber became air-filled. The walls were bejeweled with clusters of dog-tooth spar crystals, a subaqueous crystallization of extremely slow-moving, moderately saturated solutions of dissolved calcite deposited over a long period of time. The clusters themselves becoming so large as to resemble icy snowballs, tossed with abandon against the wall. Except, upon closer examination, the true nature of the clusters are revealed, looking more like a cold starburst composed of slivers of ice. But as spectacular as the sparkling wall of crystalline delights can be, they are eclipsed by the real star of the fossil flats, crinoid stems. These are the fossilized remains of a marine animal, also known as the sea lily. Crinoids have been around for 480 million years. Although not abundant, there are still crinoids alive today. Crinoids are related to starfish and have three parts: a stem, which it uses to stick to the seafloor, a body, and its arms, which are used to catch food. It's the stems that we find here in the cave. They used to be common during the Paleozoic era until the Permian-Triassic extinction 250 million years ago, when they suffered a near complete extinction. Their remains fell to the bottom and were covered with silt, where eventually the tissue was replaced with stone as the seafloor slowly turned to limestone. The roof of Fossil Flats is composed of that ancient seafloor, and the crinoid stems are revealed where they fell so long ago, as the cave passage slowly dissolved out of the bedrock, deep under the town of Edgewood. But after a full day underground, it was time to go, and the team turned around and made the trek to the entrance room, where each completed the climb up the rope through the narrow confines of the well casing all the way to the surface.